What is going on, guys? It's Adam McKay Marv. Today's show is going to be great. Remember, nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else on the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. With that being said, remember, the internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. All right, we are about 2 hours late, so I'm going to get right into things. As you can probably see, my camera crapped out, so we had to find another solution, and then because we unplugged that, pretty much all of the hubs that we had, wires and everything going on, all got reset. So we used some flex tape, some duct tape, some MacGyver hammers, and we made it work. So the show must go on, even though we will have half the people here because they are asleep now. So let's get started. Remember, and again, if you're new to the show, we normally have, I don't know how the quality will be on sound or anything tonight. So if it is good, let me know in the chat or in the comments below. All right, and remember, today is brought to you by NordVPN. If you want to protect yourself against cyber threats, it would be the best thing to do is get yourself a virtual private network. Now, Nord is one of the best and one of the easiest. It even has an on and off mode where you just click on, click off. Very easy to download. Use the special savings code MARFUGL to get up to 70% off on a 3-year plan. All right, Dex, what is going on? And let's do a sound check real quick and make sure that you're alive and here and everything else.
Well, hello, MacGyver. I am here. And hello, Fugel fam.
All right. Thank you guys all for coming. Thank you for some of you that were patient. The show was supposed to go on at 7:15. It is now almost 9:15. I mean, it's 8:55, but still 2 hours later, some of you actually sat in the chat the entire time. So thank you. My wife actually didn't even know we were going to. She came down and she's like, "You're not on?" I said, no, pretty much everything that could go wrong did go wrong. It was like Murphy's Law in my basement. And if you're missing notifications, go over to morefugelnews.com. You can actually follow along. All of the stories here today, we have taken the time to back up before the show. So you can actually follow along on a second device. You can grab a tablet or a phone, and you can read along with us. Now, there's some really important news articles here. And again, this is all going to be available to you at our website. Go to morefugelnews.com. You'll see that you have it very easily navigable. Just go to 100 Nukes Lost. And then, of course, click on tonight's thumbnail, and you'll see that all of the tweets, videos, archived documents, anything that we show you here is going to be there, including normally the callers. I don't know if I don't believe we're going to take callers tonight because we are now 2 hours late. It is now going on midnight on Dex's time. So, he's got a family too, and I understand that. But also, it's getting late. So for replay watchers, it's going to be great. All the news is going to be in one place, and unfortunately, I apologize to everybody. But we'll make up for it. We'll probably do an extra show as well. I do want to also just call out that I'm going to do some more stuff for the YouTube side of things. It is my home base. It's where we came from. And I got a lot of really good feedback lately, and I just really appreciate it, including from some of my mods, just great people around me. And I'm so blessed to have them around. Okay. So you can go there. You can find all the news. Let's get into it. SpaceX Mars aborts their Mars prototype rocket test launch with 0.1 seconds on the clock. Now, Dex, this sounds a lot like... this actually sounds a whole lot like what happened just a couple weeks ago. Does it not?
Well, yeah, it's really strange because this happened, and then later I think they actually launched, and we've got a video of that. So today was kind of a big day for them. Like they canceled, and then they did something else, and I'm pretty sure it's the same rocket. But you're gonna love what Elon called the what we would call a failure that happened later. So this is their continued test for that big giant metal looking rocket ship that's supposed to go to Mars. So yeah, they called it
the BFR, right? The big effing rocket. Yeah. Don't tell me they called it a slight anomaly when it blew up, because that's their style. So
just wait till you see that video. It's on there.
It says another SpaceX rocket prototype was fueled and ready for a test flight Wednesday, but in the final moments before liftoff, the vehicle's engine sputtered off and the company announced it had aborted the flight. One of the ones that I covered and I actually did a YouTube story on is one of them that was 30 seconds till, basically it was on the last 30 seconds of countdown, and they said, no, stop, and you could hear the audio, because everybody's watching online. Nowadays, people actually watch the launch on several different channels that basically just have a live feed, and they're watching the rocket try to take off. During that, the voice was like, you could hear the announcer guy like, wait just a minute, and then they canceled it. That was a different one for SpaceX, and then this one, of course, happened. So there's all this weird stuff, and I'm sure some people who do not believe in up above or anything like that, they're like, yeah, okay. Which it's given them credence, right? It says the company will recycle the rocket's fuel and attempt liftoff again. So again, they actually did do this at 4 p.m. And then we have the Twitter video here. If it will load right, there we go. Just take a second here. Of this actually happening. It says an amazing shot of Starship SN10's post-landing rapid unplanned disassembly after Wednesday's flight.
So let me set this up. I don't know if this video shows the landing, but we've all seen these rockets land. So this actually landed.
Wait, oh my gosh!
It landed back.
Did he call it?
Sat there.
Did he call it a rapid unplanned disassembly?
Yes. I knew you would love that.
Yes, like his slight anomaly. Oh my gosh. Oh wow, yeah. So I am buying a ticket to Mars tomorrow. This looks like a gem of a trip. There. This is like, this is the good kind of trip. This isn't no discount cruise. Okay, this is something that really is quite amazing. So 3, 2, 1, and
yeah. So apparently it landed. And it sat there, and then just out of the blue, it just rapidly disassembled itself in an unplanned fashion.
Yeah, a rapid, unplanned disassembly. And even has its own acronym, RUD, or RUD. So you'll see just here in a second. Boom! Like a big billion-dollar firecracker. Wow. And you know what's even crazier about this? This doesn't really give you the scale of it. You see these little parts flying off? Those parts are as big as cars because of the size of this rocket. So when you see that it makes it look like a twig is flying off of it. That's the size of a car flying, hundreds of feet in the air. Pretty nuts. What do you think about the rapid unplanned disassembly? That is actually pretty funny. I have to admit. Elon is such a weirdo. We all know that, but let's go over to the chat. I want to say hi. And in fact, I might actually have to, let me pull these over here. In fact, let me pop over here like this. Smoochy Toochie. And yes, I said Smoochy Toochie. Zowie Vendor Blast, do you believe in magic? Are we singing together, Zowie? Well, I don't know. Do you believe in magic? Sweet Jenna, what is going on? 3 for 3. John McTill, hey, how are you doing tonight? We've got Neil Nelson, Watcher 2. Maria Medlock, thank you so much for being here. Anita Torres. Team Ramrod, Cindy Pillow. Stuart and Lisa Martin, nice to meet you. And says, all right, we made it. What the FFF? Bush. And then Heritage Heart, thanks for coming tonight. Chad, the other guy. Crossbow MC, you're good to go. You sound fine. Thank you. I do appreciate the feedback, too. D-Live all the way, says Mrs. Marf. Sunny Beach Girl, Veteran Steve, what is going on? Shout out to Susan Donahue, Gone Girl 777, Amy R., all of you wonderful people out there, Watcher 2, just listening. A great amount of people in there. So thank you all for being patient with us. It says we are witnessing a last-minute mass exodus before the final collapse of our major cities. Now, I'll show you. I'll zoom in on who did this article, and you'll kind of understand why. And again, we make sure to give you the bibliography of every article and everything that we show you here. But that right there is obviously something that is, getting harder to find. Certain publishers and certain news outlets are harder to find nowadays, if you know what I mean. But this is actually a really good article. So just to bop into it, it says Americans fled the big cities in droves in 2020, and one recent survey discovered that even more Americans are planning to move in 2021. The corporate media is attempting to frame this mass exodus as a temporary phenomenon, but there is nothing temporary about it. Millions upon millions of people can see that our society is literally melting down all around us, and they want to get somewhere safe while they can. In recent weeks, I have written articles about the specific problems that we are witnessing in Chicago, San Francisco, but it says the truth is that virtually all of our major cities are coming apart at the seams, and this is motivating more people than ever to seek greener pastures. And we're talking about, a lot of people are leaving the actual country saying that they are concerned, and that there is a certain kind of group of people that are doing this. And we've never seen so many elites with the power and the money to actually leave the country, get full citizenship somewhere else, do all of the appropriate paperwork to go somewhere else. We've never seen as many as we have in this last year. These are people that are in the know, that are on boards, that are on intelligence committees, and they are leaving. What are they expecting? Go ahead.
And I can add to this, Adam, where I live, because I'm in a location that would have been, is more of a suburban area away from a major city. We're seeing tons of people moving in here from those big cities, right? Not necessarily Atlanta, but like from New York, from, Chicago, from California. And the real thing that we see is there's no more inventory. Like, you can't find a place to rent. You can't buy a house anymore because they're being bought right away, and the prices have gone up, which is good if you own a house, because you might make a little money. But, if you're in the market to buy a house and you lived here, you're going, what's happened to the housing prices here? It's like all of a sudden, all this money from other places where people paid high top dollar for housing are moving in and just paying ridiculous upcharges on houses just to get a house. And so I can personally witness this in my little town and in the suburban areas outside of 30 miles out of Atlanta. So
no, my uncle lives in a suburban neighborhood just the same, and their housing prices just went up and shot up $100,000 per house on average in just the last month and a half. That's incredible. Some of the things that are happening right now, I don't think people can really deny what is happening. I think people need to wake up at this point and realize that this is real. This has happened. This is serious. It is scary at times, but we have to really, we have to come to terms that we need to be prepared. That is the point of our show. That's the point of what I've done for 3 years. That was the point of our state groups, to prepare you and to have you meet with local people around you so you guys could get prepared for whatever may come your way. And this is something that I think that you guys really need to work on right now. And personally, my family and I, Mrs. Marf and all the rest of us, we're watching everything, and we're just watching it unfold and unfurl. And if you're still denying if you're still saying that everything's okay, then you're basically forcing yourself to be ignorant. It's really, it's not even like, oh, it's gotten worse or it's going to get bad for this and that. We're headed towards something massive. Every military member knows it. I mean, look at what is actually happening in the military for darn sakes. You've got them basically hunting through the entire military for people who might support someone. And some people still don't get what was going on there, even if they did understand it in the first place. This is scary times. It says, in fact, some parts of the country, it is difficult to find a decent home for sale at all. In Bozeman, Montana, one man was actually resorted to walking around with a cardboard sign asking for someone to sell him a house. That's pretty stupidly. And the thing is this isn't exaggerated. At least there.
Well, I'll tell you, I get text messages now from brokers texting me saying, "Will you sell your house?" I'm not kidding. And I've never in my life gotten that. Like, I'll get the telephone call like, "This is your home warrant, your auto warranty garbage." You get that all the time. I've had no less than 5 different random strangers that I don't know call asking me to sell my house.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They will buy it for more than what it's worth and then upcharge it another $100,000 and still make money. And they're making a ton right now. So with everything that's going on, obviously this exodus is only lining up more and more with all of the CEOs that have left their posts, people that are moving out of the country, people that are leaving and saying, "I'm not coming back." There's too many people to deny what's going on. We're seeing it all across the country and in every city after last year. I mean, what downtown area really has a bustling business? You could say, "Oh, well, it's because the CV." Even after CV say they lift all restrictions in Seattle, downtown Seattle is trashed. I don't know if maybe I should go down and video it. I would have to bring a few people with me because it is so bad in downtown Seattle, where it used to be a tent here, a tent there. Every other, at nighttime you'd see a kind of in-way doorway with a tent or a sleeping bag or somebody sleeping. Now they've taken over the courthouse. They've taken over an entire neighborhood. All tents under every bridge, everywhere, down sidewalks that are normally, bustling bus stops. There are no, small businesses down there anymore. They've all just left or went out of business because they couldn't stay open. Downtown Seattle is destroyed. There's all of these different kind of news articles and things coming out about it. Finally, people are actually, kind of telling the truth in even our local news. It's trashed. Anybody who lives in Seattle, you go down there and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're talking about Friday night and it's just homeless. And they, nothing against the homeless. It's like, but that's a key indicator of what is going on down there. No businesses, even if they lift everything, there's no businesses left. All of them over the last year either shut down or left or moved to somewhere else. And this is in cities across the country. Where do you think that leads? Where do you think, after all of this happened last year, where do you think that just recovers overnight? It's not going to, and people are going to be struggling. We're talking to, people are always afraid of saying depression because they don't want the stock market to do this or that. I'll just say, I believe we are in a depression, and we're going to see even worse of a depression. We're also going to see all of this stuff break down, like farming, the food supply chain. You're talking about infrastructure, and now we know about these hacks that went on. Our infrastructure is at danger, and nobody's even talking about it. That matters. I mean, like, we need the people in those 200-year-old buildings that go and smack a gavel. We need them talking about it. And in fact, they're doing the reverse, as we talked about last night. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, thanks you. It says, "I want a free ticket to Mars. God bless everyone." They'll practically be paying you to take a trip to Mars pretty soon here. Just realize that your trip might be just as good as this one. I don't think you want that. And Rhonda McKay, thanks for keeping us informed. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Rhonda, and I appreciate the support. Michael Stapleton from Australia, thank you so much. Says, "Buy more gaffer tape." Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for supporting our gaffer tape fund. And then JR says, "SpaceX in Chico was supposed to lift off about 3 nights ago, launch via Florida with 65 sats, was aborted with T-minus 1 minute and 24 seconds. Something is up, in my opinion." JR, I don't know what it is, but I believe you, and I agree with you. Cheryl Davis, thank you for pledging on Patreon. I really do appreciate that. Thank you for becoming a $3 pledge. And then Awake 2, Jesus Christ is coming soon for his bride in the rapture. All right, let's get moving. Dozens of earthquakes occur over 45 minutes at Oregon's Mount Hood. What caused them? Now, more or less what caused them, it says that 45 minutes earthquake swarm reported this week near Oregon's Mount Hood has the USGS offering explanations and reassurance that the volcano is not becoming more active. Dozens of earthquakes, most not felt on the surface, came in succession around 12:13 p.m., and that was, of course, on Monday afternoon, centered about half a mile southwest of the volcano, geologists say. It says that data show that the quakes came from about 3 to 4 miles beneath the summit, officials said Tuesday. It says that the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network located 8 events so far with a maximum magnitude of 1.3. Dozens of other events were too small to locate. So, again, these aren't huge. These are tremors, but it's a swarm, and it's the area that they're in. Of course, we have the Cascadia subduction zone to always keep our eyes peeled for. And again, I've reminded people, and if you're new, Cascadia subduction zone has 21 state governments preparing for its after effects. So if you just thought, and if you didn't know what it is, it's going to be a 9+ earthquake that hits the entire West Coast. It's not only going to affect those 3 states, it's going to affect 21 states at least. That is how many states are preparing for that event. So with these kind of weird things about Mount Hood and down in Oregon and anywhere along that, little chunk of the Ring of Fire, we pay attention and we make sure to pass it on. I hope that everybody has been subscribed to somebody like Dutch Sense. Dutch Sense is a great channel to watch for earthquakes. Make sure to go check him out. He's a good friend of the channels, so make sure to go check him out. And then, of course, you can always watch somebody like Wages World for space weather. Space weather has a lot to tie into that. There's lots of really great channels. BP Earthwatch does a lot of stuff regarding that, so check any of those out if you want to follow it more closely, or I guess videos that are more detailed right on those single events. It says that the recent earthquakes at Mount Hood are interpreted to be the movements of a hydrothermal fluids along pre-existing faults. It says what we are seeing is a slip on a fault or faults, and it is easiest to achieve such earthquakes if you push a little water in there and jack the fault apart just enough to induce a slip. It says, quote, it may be possible to do the same thing with magma. Water is much less vicious and able to penetrate any weakness in the pre-existing rock. Dex, have you even been in an earthquake? I know you're Midwest. I think no, Lexi has.
Well, I take that back. We had one in Georgia, and I was here for it, but I was asleep, and then I woke up right after it, but I didn't realize what it was. So that was many, many, many years ago. But that's the only one I've ever, and it's super small, three something.
Now, I was in the Nisqually earthquake in 2001. In fact, it was I believe it was before September of 2001, that whole thing. And they ended up upgrading it to possibly a 6.7, something like that. At first they said it was 6.3. That was insane. The TV came off the wall in my classroom and smashed down right next to us. We're all under our desk, and our teacher literally runs out the window, runs out the door, goes out the main entrance, and we have these 10, 20-foot windows in Seattle watching, and he runs down the hill, just leaves us all there. I'm incredibly surprised he was not fired after that. I've told that story a few times, but it's yeah, and he was from Texas. He's seen tornadoes, seen everything else, but he said he apologized, and he said, I just didn't know what to do. And that's a worrying thing, because there's a lot of people who have moved to Seattle, especially because of the booming economy, but they don't know anything about, what's going to go on here. They don't even know what the Cascadia subduction zone is. You might say, oh, there's a big earthquake coming. Oh, I kind of heard about that. But they don't realize that they need to train with their family and their kids and have, protections and insurances and food and water for, months. After it happens, we're not going to have a grid on the West Coast. We're not going to have any of that. And that's besides all of the other threats that are, now currently going on. So with that, I hope that everybody is paying attention. And then Bad Wolf Gigi, same here in Florida. Apartment complexes are being grabbed up. Lisa K23, thank you for saying great show. Island by the Sea. We've got Sadistic One. We've got I Love Chihuahuas. Akarushi, Scooby-Doo Right. This Artsman, thank you. And 942, thank you for following. I always call out the new people. The End is Near. Hockey Ma'am 20, thank you so much. Bear Claws, Island by the Sea. Vol 111, nice to see you tonight. Wonder if you'll be playing afterwards. Alan Petty 7, thank you for following. And then, of course, so glad to see you, buddy, and love all of you guys. Thank you, Vault 111. And then The End is Near is here. That's, of course, one of my favorite screen names there. And then Dark Reaper, thank you for following. Make sure to welcome Dark Reaper and others. Susie P., Jenny from Texas, Sandra in Texas, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for just being awesome. All right, and then if you want to support us in a different way and actually protect yourself, this is a big deal. I hope that everybody is listening. I hope that everybody has, of course, that has followed us, already knows about what I am about to say. EMP Shield is an actual device that can help protect you against the real EMPs. Not only that, it can help protect against solar flares, which some experts say are overdue for. This can protect you against all three phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3. They have worked with countless agencies, including DoD, DHS, Department of Homeland Security, which we actually just had Andrew, the one of the owners, on last night, talking about their connections with the government and how they've everything is up in the air right now as far as the current and mid, because the last president was doing drastic measures to protect our grid. All of a sudden, that's kind of gone backwards for whatever reason. So I would keep your head on a swivel 100% of the time. You can go to marfugelnews.com/EMP if you would like to get one. You can get one for your car, for your house, even for your solar system, and even your radio, your ham radio. They make all different devices. Again, the most popular being the one for their car. It takes about 5 minutes to put in yourself, and it will actually ground the signal before anything fries your device. All right, and then Dex, I'm going to pull you in on this one. So we've got the I Air Base housing U.S. troops attacked by rockets, and then, of course, the other I, militia believed involved. So
yeah, so this just happened. It's just, this we're seeing this escalation. Some say it's just happened this year because of the change in administration. I don't know. But what we're seeing is, again, more of, we had what we did in the S country, right? The attack we did. And now we're seeing multiple, kickbacks against us. And this is one of them. And actually somebody did pass away. A contractor, I believe, had a heart attack while they were sheltering in place. And didn't survive. Yeah.
Just in case you don't know what the S country is, we'll pop it up. There are some places, and if you're new here, there are some things we try to show on screen rather than trigger the algorithm gods. So that was actually 2018, but there was these. Of course, 2 days ago there was an airstrike on them, on an Iranian-backed militia, and they even took out one fighter and wounded two. That, of course, is what is getting kind of the kickback. And now that we have this admin already, we've gotten into some pretty quick altercations there. So we'll see. The one thing is there are big companies, big industrial military complexes that need us to go to conflict to keep their money flowing. There is big money in conflict. In fact, think about it. They can charge whatever they want for different operations and charge these exorbitant amounts. Some people have been caught in the past. Some of these military operations, there was an example where they spent $30,000 on a toilet seat. Of course, it was like some sort of fancy custom handmade thing for a jet or something, but it was $30,000 for a toilet seat, right? So who sets the price for that? Because there's only one person who makes it, or, that's just an example, right? Where is all this money going? And then who gets ended up tied into that? So then it's like a full circle. Then you see certain politicians on the board, or say employed, or shareholders for Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, all of these companies, DARPA, that are getting contracted to do the work. See how that works? And
it's interesting.
All going to get worse.
Administration spent all the money to build up everything, right? And in my mind, that sort of appeased that complex. It's like, hey, we'll buy a whole bunch of missiles. So many you can't, the parking lot's overflowing with trucks, right? And we heard that story. We heard from people there saying that was what was happening. And of course, we thought, well, we're going to use it. But maybe it was just a buildup. Maybe that was to sort of appease that machine, so to speak, right? And now we've got a different administration, and maybe their appeasement isn't a spend mode. It's more of a deplete and use. Let's start using this stuff. I don't know. We'll have to see.
And then we have the U.S. flew unprecedented 75 spy plane missions over South China Sea in February. These are clear signs that this is kicking up. And because we don't see it, on the front page of every newspaper, people don't realize this is going on. But those that are looking, we are seeing the signs, and we're seeing the writing on the wall. This is a huge uptick. They are basically completely and utterly focused on the South China Sea and what is going on there as far as the forward operating base that has now been put there. They created islands out of nothing. They have turned them into one of the most advanced set of smaller island kind of bases. Whereas the U.S., we've used other countries and we've gone there and we've put our military units all over the world. They actually made theirs, and they're doing the same thing right now. Xi Jinping told his military in a meeting, he said, hey, you guys get ready for conflict. We're going to go to conflict, so get ready. Of course, the Morning Post, the South China Morning Post, which people could say, oh, it was saber rattling for them to do this. But they said that the soldiers were told to say, to spend time with their family and say their goodbyes. This was just about a few months ago. So what is actually happening? Then, of course, you've got China dismantling all of their military, taking all their tanks back from the India border, India joining Russia in all of their drills, which they were just, at neck and neck with China. And now all of a sudden they're pulling all this gear back. The U.S. is putting artillery in Alaska. We've got, and if you can look at everything, we have archived all of these movements, by the way. All of them are public movements. You can go back through our shows and find every one of them. We've moved massive artillery to Alaska. You're talking about, and Dex, you can fill in. I'm not going to be able to name all of the things we've done. They have the largest Navy in the world. Can't say that enough, because that's a new thing just in the last 2 years.
And then we've also, just on the other side of the tension with Russia, we've been moving a lot into Europe, right? And we've been covering and patrolling that area, and investing heavily in our ability to respond, or at least look strong as it relates to any type of strike from them. So we've got it going on both fronts there. And then we've got the whole ME thing going on in the middle, the East area. So, all of that, those three different areas are all really big tension points with our military and with potential conflict, and every one of them is ripe right now for something to happen.
And then, not to mention, you've got China. You had half of their nuclear scientists quit and resign, even though that if you're a Chinese scientist working for the Chinese government, you don't just quit on the Chinese government. You will be marked for life if you screw them over. And as a nuclear scientist in research and development, it's not like they have a bunch of them. They can just go down to the corner and go, hey, we need another research, and development, nuclear scientist. Those people went through the entire Chinese system, got to the place they are because they were skilled and talented scientists. They were in that. All of them resigned the same day. What does that say to you? They saw something that morally they said, I'd rather be marked for life than basically put my hands on that or get blood on my hands for whatever this is, whatever's going on. We've seen all sorts of things. I mean, the writing is on the wall all over the place. And my chat is so amazing and so smart. I guarantee you guys will be able to put examples that you've seen on this show of why you believe that this is all popping off. And it will pop off. It's not to scare people. It's just to say, we saw it before WW2. We saw it before WW1. We knew in WW2, we knew the problems that were going on. We knew we had beefs with certain places, and we saw all of the stories. And you may not remember because you may not have been alive, but there was tons of coverage of it. There was tons of stories coming out about all of these kind of little things that all added up. And all it takes is one altercation to really tear everything down.
And let's not forget China's investment in ports in many different countries and how they've gone in and either financed and then taken over when they couldn't afford them, or they've been buying land and building out and building ports, especially in locations close to us. And then as well as, let's not forget what happened with the Panama Canal, right? That's currently controlled by a company that is owned by China.
And you're talking about the U.S. preparing for a battle at night. We, of course, had intel about the I country basically attacking us and doing an attack that made September of 2001 look like chicken feed. You've got our military has a huge priority on basically drilling every soldier on fighting in the night, fighting in the dark, fighting without GPS, fighting without communication. What the hell's up with that? There is entire teams devoted to it. And if you're on base, you want to be a part of that because they're doing all the cool drills. If you've ever been in any kind of special forces or sniper school or anything like that, or you've been in some of the other kind of Navy SEALs or something like that, you realize that 90% of your time it's training, doing these crazy trainings like airbornes or even sniper training. They go out and they will spend 6 or 8 weeks on a training course on the wind. That sounds boring, right? But they learn how the wind goes so they can shoot 1.5 miles away, right? Because they have to get the elemental things down. Well, right now, we can see what they are preparing for by what the drills are. The drills are very clear. They're preparing to fight without any kind of power. They're also preparing to fight in urban areas. They're also preparing to defend borders. It's really clear, and if you can't see that, then you just need to do more research because it's all there. And all of the movements that are happening right now, we are shifting stuff all over the world. So are they. And they are mass-producing ships, they're mass-producing aircraft, they're mass-producing everything. And we're going to say it until the day it comes, and you're going to see the, old school picture of the New York Times or these newspapers with the headline, we're at China with, we're at war with China. It will come. Russia might have lost over 100 nuclear weapons. The end of the cold conflict likely made many people feel a little bit safer, as it seemed unlikely the world would face nuclear Armageddon. But it said there was an unforeseen problem: missing nuclear weapons. It says before its collapse in 1991, the Soviet Union produced more than 27,000 100,000 nuclear weapons, along with enough weapons-grade uranium and plutonium to build 3 times more weapons because of severe economic distress, widespread corruption, and then, of course, lacks security and dependency on the bureaucratic system. It has been feared that some nuclear weapons and or material may have been lost or stolen. I believe it's more than 100, and this, of course, the show is called the 100 Lost Nukes. This is just Russia's lost nukes. We're not talking about the I countries' lost nukes. We're not talking about the other I country that we're allied with, their lost nukes. The U.S.'s lost nukes. China's lost nukes. All it takes is one to cause a worldwide disaster. And I'm not saying one goes off and then the whole world ends, right? One goes off and then people make reactions. Now there's hypersonic missiles. There's all these other things that are going on that might change the reaction time. So much so that I almost, and by the way, when we covered, this is super weird. So they're saying that the D lawmakers are saying to President B, basically saying, hey, we need to change the way that the nuclear football works. What they were saying in a sense was basically saying we need to look at the fact that President B can alone launch a strike against another country. Now, how I first looked at this, and I did take some time to reflect at it. In fact, right after I finished that show, I thought about something else. I thought, why would our own government be telling the president and trying to pass laws that makes us have a slower response to a nuclear disaster? Especially because now we have hypersonic speeds. We have a much smaller window to react to those things. And when that thing comes at us, we have very little time to react. I thought, well, who is inside our country? Who's behind these lawmakers trying to get us to slow down our response? Because guess what? China and Russia, they're not going to go through a process and check in with 3 or 4 other people before they launch. So what would that do? That would give us a delay. If President B, whether you like him having controls of it or not, if he is not able to just push a button or turn 2 keys or whatever it is to launch, then we are stuck. What if he has to use a phone, call somebody, or go through it, or have a third person come over and then they confirm, then they double confirm, do something like this? That would slow down our response, therefore possibly ending us. But another thing I didn't think of is, what if they think that he, what if they know something that we don't? I just wonder if they're not even trusting. Dex, there's a lot of things that just seem really wrong right now, including a whole part of our country is still fenced up, even though all of the drama is already over. Doesn't that seem weird to you?
Yeah, it does. But at the same time, there's this whole thing that is supposed to, in theory, or this whole con theory, if you want to call it that, about tomorrow. So I think that's one of the reasons they're still fenced up. But we'll have to see it. Do they carry it beyond that? Right. That, to me, that was like the last point, is this unevent thing that may or may not happen tomorrow, which I don't think it will. I'm not buying into it, but that's the one thing that leads me to believe that's why the fences are still there. If they're still there a week from after tomorrow, then I'm really, they're out of excuses, right? There's no more excuses. And it's definitely a strange situation that we have put ourselves in, and we've got this sort of lockdown mentality around our nation's, biggest city, or not biggest city, but one of the most important cities. Yeah, there's a lot that is going on in lots of different areas, and it's just the thought that at any one time, one of these missing things could pop up and be used, no matter who uses it, whether it's, an intentional act or an unintentional act. That's kind of scary, right?
No, it's incredibly scary. By the way, I see Brendan Henschel in the house, and I've seen your screen name many times, and I did not realize that you were Melissa Schumann's husband. You guys are awesome, and that was really sweet of you guys to say, and I was happy to see you, and I wanted to just tell you, Brandon, I really do appreciate you. I appreciate it, everybody that watches, and you guys know probably better than anybody that we support D-Livers all over the place because we do feel like it's about the community. It's less about the platform and more about the people. But I just want to thank you and your wife. I always feel safe hosting your wife because obviously she's not gonna, she's not gonna drop F-bombs left and right, or if she does, she beeps it. But also she's just, she always has something, entertaining on. So I'd love to host you as well at some point. Brandon, it was nice to meet you as well. Thank you so much. And make sure to say hi to your wife. Melissa, thank you for watching, and I actually didn't know you guys watched, so thank you. Veteran Steve, thank you for gifting a sub to I Love Jesus Forever. We've got He's Not My Purse. We've got Force of Nature. Red Butterflies in the house. Susan Love Huskies. I love it. Bear Claws. Miss Me You Too. Chewy Weather and MC Chavez. I love it. Scooby Doo Right is here as well. Thank you guys for all being patient tonight. It doesn't help us when we have show hang-ups like this. It hurts us really bad. Especially going on.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I'm jumping back to this article before we move on to the next one. But there's one thing in the bottom of this that I thought was really interesting. They talk about, when they're talking about these lost nukes, they talk about an incident that happened back in like '89. And I remember it, but I don't know if you remember it, but it was one of the nukes that went down. I mean, one of the subs that went down. And it's really interesting if you sort of read it, like for those that don't remember or don't recall this, but then the actions that they took to go back and like not recover, but at least seal up the torpedo hatches and try to make sure that the reactor that was in that sub wasn't going to have any damage because it was near another country. I think it was Norway, and they didn't want that to happen. But it got me thinking about the recent sub event. You remember the sub event where their president said they saved the world from a global catastrophe, right? So it just got me thinking, is there some sort of correlation to what happened back in '89 with what we had happen, was it last year or the year before, with that other mysterious sub event with Russia?
That totally makes a lot more common sense than some of the other theories we've seen, even some of the theories I've had. And what Dex is talking about is a couple of years ago, there was a top secret research submarine, which of course is so top secret that even they say that even our agencies do not know everything about them. It was named after a Russian clown, like a clown TV show that was on 50 years ago in Russia. I want to say it was Vlad, whatever it was. I can't remember. But it actually had something like 30 or 40 sailors on it, and 14 of them perished in a fire that happened on the actual submarine. They said that those sailors slash high-ranking officials at their funerals, their commander basically said at their funeral that they passed away heroes and that they died averting a planetary catastrophe. That whole day was really crazy. And because if you don't remember and if you don't pay attention, that day you had Pence was supposed to be on a flight, I think to Washington. He was on a flight somewhere. They turned around his plane. Then the news reported that, his plane never left. And then they reported that he turned around. Commander-in-Chief, our ex-president, President DT, he, of course, had his entire schedule cleared, and we proved that. We showed you that on our show, which is very rare. Usually they have appearances, they have this, that. You just never see where it's just completely empty. Nothing. And then, of course, they had a COBRA meeting in Britain, in the UK. They had a COBRA meeting, their highest defense. Russia had a defense meeting. You had Australia have a defense meeting, and you had China meet with their defense, and even NK within one day of that met with Xi Jinping or something like that. So something massive happened that day, and I don't know what it is, and neither do you. But it's pretty weird. So I wonder if that's a pretty good theory, Dex. Again, Michael Stapleton over on YouTube, thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate that. If you guys have not already, just like we said in the first beginning, remember you can actually protect yourself against cyber threats with NordVPN. Go to marfugelnews.com/VPN. You can hide your IP address, which actually correlates with your real address, and you can use it on 6 devices for one plan. So you can put it on your computer, your kid's computer, your cell phone, and your kids' cell phones. Again, this works on cell phones as well, especially if you're using any kind of internet in public places like Starbucks or Wi-Fi or Xfinity Wi-Fi, and you have the plan so you use all the towers. I would get a VPN right now. Go to marfugelnews.com/VPN. You get a discount, and you help the channel at the same time. All right, and then the U.S. is not prepared to defend or compete with China on AI, according to a commission report. A new report issued to Congress and by the president lays bare the threats posed by foreign AI weapons and issues a stern warning to American leadership. It says the National Security Commission on Artificial Intelligence, so this is something we've talked about for 3 years since I started, is artificial intelligence is something that some of the most powerful people in the world, including Elon Musk, have said that they believe artificial intelligence is more dangerous than any nuke. Any lost nuke out there, again, they think artificial intelligence is worse. Straight up Terminator stuff. And it doesn't help that the current military and the current Air Force is naming their drones Skyborg. And we actually have, what is it called? The Skynet. Skynet is a real thing. They're making a Skynet, the chip, the Internet of Things is going to be on the Skynet system. I mean, come on, really? And then we have the National Security Commission on Artificial Intelligence, or NCSAI, issued a report on Monday, March 2021, and it says, which offers a stark warning to the leadership of the United States. According to the thorough 756-page report, China could likely soon replace the U.S. as the world's leader in artificial intelligence, or AI, and that shift will have significant ramifications for the U.S. military at home and abroad. This is why I said they're mass producing these drones. This is why we are preparing to defend against a drone enemy. Think about if you have millions of drones mass produced, which, remember, China has access to all of those factories, and if in a second they can turn any of those factories that are making stupid little made in China products or made in China toys, and they can turn that into a drone factory. And they don't have any qualms from their citizens because they have 100% control. You don't say no to the Chinese government. Otherwise, you'll end up... all the things we fear happen in real life over there. We fear us getting put into, these fenced areas. They are put in fenced areas there. So think about that when you're looking at a country that wants to take top spot. And also look at what we are doing to defend against this. We are mass producing lasers now on our side to defend against this. My sister's boyfriend, off and on, I found out some pretty crazy stuff. But one thing I found out is how many lasers we are building. And all of these are to defend against these drones. Because they feel like the drones that are AI powered, we could see 1 million of these things come over the West Coast, go way further than anything else, and all be strapped with something, and there would be no defending. How would you defend something like that? I mean, sheer numbers is where that comes in, and it's really dangerous. But that's not even all. I mean, there's so many other ways that artificial intelligence could end up running something that defeats, our numbers, defeats our our manpower even. It says the NCSAI was established by the John S. McCain National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2019 and was established to consider the methods and means necessary to advance the development of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and associated technologies to comprehensively address the national security and defense needs of the United States. They believe that this is one of the biggest threats out there. It says Google CEO Eric Schmidt chaired the NCSAI. Isn't that funny? What did I just say earlier about these just global elites, the head of tech companies being directly involved with?
The president of Oracle's in there too. Not the owner, but the president, Safra Catz.
Isn't that
and then
weird?
JPL.
Why do you where do you think that connection lies? You were in tech companies. So where do you think this connection lies? Why are tech companies so closely related to the military-industrial complex?
Well, I mean, certainly they all hold and even at companies, those big tech companies, they all do big business with DoD. So they're ingrained because our military, our DoD, it doesn't operate without technology. So it doesn't all come from the Lockheeds or the Boeings, right? There is technology, especially AI technology, coming from the traditional Silicon Valley companies like Google and Oracle and others. So that it does make sense that they're there, but it is also insightful to say, hey, look at this report, and it's being headed up by Schmidt, and someone else like Safra Catz from Oracle is on there, and JPL and a handful of, and Microsoft, Dr. Horowitz is on there. So yeah, there's a lot of big names.
And all of them are in the know, and of course, half of them are all stepping down from their places, but they're staying on those boards, aren't they? They know something is up. You should too. Drones with, quote, most advanced AI ever, coming soon to your local police department. It says 3 years ago, Customs and Border Protections placed an order for self-flying aircraft that could launch on their own. Remember, this is without a pilot. Rendezvous, locate, and monitor multiple targets on the ground without any human intervention. In its reasoning for that order, a CBP said that the level of monitoring required to secure America's long land borders from the sky was too cumbersome for people alone. Even further reminds me of that movie with Nicolas Cage where he's in the future and they have these Predator drones driving alongside his car in the beginning scene. This is where our future is. We're going to have drones. We're going to have basically military monitoring us here on the United States soil, which before was a no-no. It would be considered a deployment, right? They're going to change laws to make this to where we are monitored. It says that CBP said that the level of monitoring required to secure it is obviously a lot more, and to research and build the drones, CBP handed $500,000 to a Mitri Corporation, a trusted nonprofit skunkworks that it was already furnishing the border police with prototype rapid DNA testing and smartwatch hacking technology. That's weird, Dex.
Yeah. Well, these kind of drones kind of creep me out because just like you said, like you see in the movies, but it's real life.
I don't think people realize how advanced some of these things are. They think, oh, well, they'll just be videotaping me. No, they're going to take your heartbeat. They're going to be able to x-ray you. They're going to be able to hear you. They're going to be able to monitor you all day, every day. You will not be able to get away. Mitris unmanned aerial vehicles didn't take off. They were tested, but not fielded operationally. As, quote, the gap from simulation to reality turned out to be much larger than the research team originally envisioned, a CBP spokesperson said. But it says, but the setback didn't end CBP's sci-fi dreams. This year, America's Border Police will test automated drones from Skydio, The Redwood City, California-based startup, which on Monday announced it had raised an additional $170 million in venture funding at a valuation of $1 billion. So Skydio, if you are not familiar with the drone companies, Skydio has made one of the kind of most epic drones that is AI and can sense its surroundings. If you want, you can look up Skydio and Skydio 2, the videos of it having this tracking feature. And what those videos are for the commercial use or the consumer use of them, say, somebody riding a dirt bike and having this drone, cinematic drone, following it, but also, dodging through trees, even stopping at a branch, going under, and making all the decisions on its own. These things are absolutely amazing now, and this isn't even as far as it's going. I can imagine if that is what us as consumers can buy, what does the government have? Pretty freaky stuff. So these are going to be all over the place. Tower Bear, Marfoogle is not a place. It's a family. Keep your head up, fam. Thank you, Tower Bear, and you are completely right. I was just talking to one of my mods about that, and there's no family like it, really. Kirk13, Nuclear War, thank you so much for your support. Mrs. Marf, thank you for being my rock. Brilliant. Rare Breeds, Jesse the Kid, thank you. Mama of 3, we've got, of course, Cindy up in the house. Thank you for being there. And, of course, Mr. Wordsworth, thank you for following. And then over on YouTube, we've got Granny J up in the house. Sitzo, my boy has one, and he uses it for his drift vids. Is he drifting in a car or something else? Depends on the guidance of your Lord and yourself, says Angel Webster. What's going on? John T. McGill. Ginger Earhart says, I dare you to Google, did India join Russia in war games in the Indian Sea? Did India join Russia in war games? Okay, so there's been several people that did not believe us for some reason. Just so you know, we actually back up everything we say with articles, and I don't know if that's what you were doing. But people were getting confused, saying that we were incorrect because it was India. What was it? It was Russia joining.
It was in the Indian Ocean, but they did say India joined them.
Yeah. So they said, no, India didn't join them. They were in the Indian Ocean. And basically people, I don't know how people like kind of threw that around and said that it's not correct. So if you do see it on a show and if you see us say that claim, make sure to go to our website because we have the backup of that claim. In fact,
I'm looking at an article right here. It's India joins Ryan and Russia naval drill, China to follow. And that was February 17th, 2021, coming out of another website, an Asia Pacific website.
So I don't know, but I would say, somebody like that is saying like, oh, look, they're not right or they're not correct. Look, let's see here. Yeah. So but up top you see, oh, Russia conduct joint naval drill in Indian Ocean. So then you're going, they didn't do that. Right underneath, India to join the Russia drill. And this is, there's 50 sources, including all of the mainstream ones. So, again, I don't know if you were doing this, but a couple people were like, "Oh, you're saying all of this stuff," and that's the thing. We back up everything we say. If we do make a mistake, we fix it. And how many times have you seen us fix it? We're not perfect, but that's why we spend so much time before every show, so we know that we're telling you accurate information. Bear Claws, what's going on? May Lynn, thank you. MMNWGW, what's going on? Shastina, Katie Untyington. Let's see here. Alan Thomas, how are you doing? Love of money causes all kinds of evil. Very true. Blop Jones, hey, how are you? Frankly777, thank you for being here. Christ Soldier says live the life. Pam Miller. Speaking of Pam, that's probably the best name out there. Bones, thank you for modding. Sugar Punch, H. Shalom, Angel Webster. We've got Chance Paladin modding over there on D Live. We've got John J. Tinfoil Hat. Hey, nice to see you here. Sunny Beach Girl and JR. Bill I. Breckenridge, it looks like, as well. Todd Best. Todd Brown. Thank you, guys. All right, and then let's see here. By the way, Dex, can you put that there? If anybody wants to question if India joined Russia in their drills with Iran in the Indian Ocean, we'll put the link on our website, marfugelnews.com. You'll be able to access. We'll make sure to back that up with solid sources so you know you're getting the proper information. Bangalore, 27-year-old dead man comes alive on post-mortem table. Pretty creepy. And it happens. Shankar Shamunk Gambui, 27 of Malingapur, and I apologize if I said that wrong and you're from there, was severely injured in a road accident on Saturday and was admitted to a private hospital in Belagavi for treatment. It says a youth who was believed to be dead by health personnel came alive and had a narrow escape from undergoing a post-mortem in Malingapur, town of Rabikavi, Banahati, Taluk. What a cool name, but I can't say it. Shangor Shamuk Gumbi, 27 of Malingpur, was severely injured. Oh, okay, it's repeating itself. We brought him by an ambulance on Sunday night to the government hospital in Malingapur. Staff at the government hospital declared him dead and sent the body for post-mortem. However, a senior officer in the post-mortem room who was prepping for the procedure said that he observed movements. This is like straight out of a movie, right? And again, I've heard that people that even were alive and the same thing happened, that the morticians thought that it was like the nerves or something kind of twitching, so they didn't think anything of it, and they ended up doing it, and they later ended up finding out, that the person was buried alive, or they found out that the time of when their heart stopped, that they accidentally did something really messed up and poisoned them, or they reacted to the post-mortem stuff. It says on closer examination, he found that he was alive. Taluk Health Officer Dr. G.S. Galigali said that he was informed that the youth was dead as per request of his family members. We visited the hospital and found that he was shaking his hands and legs. When we examined him again thoroughly, we found that he was alive. Now he has been admitted to a private hospital for further treatment. Crazy, right?
Yeah, that's just... It's creepy, it's scary, it's crazy. I mean, just imagine, like, if that there's a story, if he recovers, which sounds like maybe he's got a path to recovery here. So if he recovers, he'll have an interesting story to tell.
Cylon Killa says that dude was woke for real. Yes, he was very woke. Bear Claws, it sounds like laziness on the hospital. I guess it's probably not a 4-star over there. Well, it is an Indian hospital. Or is it an Indian Ocean hospital? Don't think that works. To say the least. Crazy for sure. Love God's plan. Oh, yeah, that's crazy. Crazy. If you don't want to be tracked or traced, make sure to check out eDeck Bags. You can go to marfugelnews.com/eDeck, put your phone or device in there, and you will be offline. You will be off grid. You cannot be tracked or geo-warranted. You were 5 minutes away from a 7-Eleven when a murder was placed, and they've got your cell phone coordinates. Well, don't have that happen to you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up geo warrants. All right, let's...
or take that spare device you have that you've downloaded, like all of those ebooks on how to survive, and keep it in that bag.
That's a great idea. Bill I. Jean says, praying for you all. We are not promised tomorrow or even another minute. Ask Jesus to be your Savior now. God bless. Thank you, Bill I. Jean. And then Sherry Stolly Floyd says, yeah, and especially when they or someone has backdoors to our military systems. Sherry, 100% correct. Solar winds, black start. Whether it's us or them that's going to do the deed, somebody's going to do it. All right, Dex. Apologize about the... I don't know if we'll have...
Hey, we pulled it off. I'm glad all the wire, duct tape, and paper clips, everything worked.
Just because people take us so literally, or take things literally when they shouldn't take them literally, there was no duct tape involved. I could see comments saying, you don't duct tape computers, that's probably your problem. Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it in again? Yes, actually we did that too many times, and that's why half of it screwed up.
And we also washed it with water too, just to make sure it was clean.
Yeah. You gotta, if you have electronics, very high-end electronics, you usually pour water on it, try to wash it clean. That's what we did. Just so nobody takes us literally, that's not what we did. Okay, again.
We'll see the emails tomorrow.
Yeah. Dex, you have a wonderful night, my internet brother and my brother from another mother, and I really appreciate you, and I say God bless and good night.
Yeah, much love. God bless everybody.
All right, have a great one. Be safe, be prepared, and marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro, it's not a shout-out, it's a shoutro. I don't know if there was echo on that. Was there echo? Probably no echo. Shoutro. Shoutro. No. I'll see you later.
Got it working on the diet on the dime. With the Bill hygiene and the jam. Sharks, Ali, Flory. Awake two in the mighty morphin' pile. Oh, with the Rondo Mud. Monkey in the Rondo Stapleton. J.R. and the Cheryl Davis. Thanks for being part of this. Dan L. Values, thank you so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate you. Team Ramrod, Pam Benedict, H. Shalom, Jeff Farm 2, Jimmy Shively, Paul Panda, Save Yourself, Sheeple, Laura Griffith, Mercer 1, Jem, Jimmer 1, Cable here, Texas, here on Drama Alert. Diana Dawn says, "Hi Adam, I can use all the prayers I can get for my dad, Rich, since he's in the ER after experiencing some really bad reactions from the C-shot. I'm praying for you, Diana. Thank you to Brendan Henschel and Melissa Schumann. I appreciate you guys.
And meet me outside. No slobs, angry mobs. Grab your pitchforks and meet me outside. No slobs, angry mobs. Grab your pitchforks and meet me outside. They are all drinking Drano. Grab your pitchforks and meet me outside. Where did their brains go? Grab your pitchforks and meet me outside. Where did their brains go? They are all drinking Drano. No slobs, angry mobs. They are all drinking. Diana Dawn and everybody walk on home.
Nope.
All the way to the friends I knew. Life is a cheat code and I got it down. Upright, and left hand down. Life is a cheat code and I got it down. Upright, and left hand down. Life. Upright, and left hand down. Life is a cheat code and I got it down. Upright, and left hand down.
Michael on the die and the die in the dawn. Billy on the team and the mister on the bar. All gotta go in the play me the ball. Life is a cheat code and I got it on. I'll wake two and the mighty on the morphin. Going on the Power Rangers on the Donga. Wanna go swim with the dolphins. Doing what I do and go on the Boston's. Oh, now Boston, with you going to holiday. Oh, go down and everybody's calling. You too, I gotta love you. Gonna bring it back, I show you. Doing everything that I do, so I can please you. Hey, shut up on my daytime. Everybody on the stage, with the Cine on the Love Yo. On the Pam Benedicta. On the Kelly on the handstand. With the Debbie and the CJ. DJ plays on the floor. Oh, on the bring up down. Like white down, going by, never fail. White night, team right on. Joy he go long, long. Upright, and left hand down.
coming after me. Got that veteran Steve. Nobody's 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 coming after me. Got that bear class and Cheryl and daytime. Oh, everybody, oh, they saying. Mininator, see you here later. Brilliant, dillion, doing every dealing. Hey, you know these chameleons now. They see it on the prowl and they do it down.
enough synth for you. Vault 111. Pure class, oh yeah. Everybody say yeah. We're not gonna bring home now. Gonna bring it back, gonna bring it down. Gonna see you and I see you now. Gotta go love and I love you now. Bring all my heart and my friends, I gotta pray for you. I hope you and you do too. On these walls, you know these boys ain't gonna go and deep try. Thank you for all these miles on this list. They all stuck with me through thick. Thick and thin, they work their fault. They work there and wait for me. Thank you, I don't know. Thank you, all day. Thank you, all of you. Sticking to the day. Digging, oh, digging, oh, stick it, oh, stick it, do thick it down. Stick it, oh, stick it, oh, stick it, oh, stick it, do, stick it, do, take it down.
I wish out of you bring all of it. Charlie, 64, I call it. I guess I could yours. Hey, I could yours. Thanks for following and ears up. Bring my eyes up, then my ears down. Oh, do it now and now my eyes up. Oh, everybody wanna be go up with the moody mama and no drama. Oh, everybody wanna call my mama. I do it all day. Hey, hey, hey.
I love the way they say, suck a head in the way they way, Billy and Top Bear. Oh, we just don't care. Girl, triple seven, well, I do it every day. No matter you here or not, both of y'all be all up with it. Oh, be all that, put up on it. Hey, oh, be all that, put up on it. Hey, oh, pop, pop, hey. Oh, be all pop, pop, hey, put up, hey. Oh, be all pop, pop, hey, put up, hey. Oh, be all pop, pop, hey, put up, hey. Bring it on now when the silence breaks. Michael Stapleton, they got sings. Oh yeah. Have a good night, guys. Thank you for all the support. We're going to be hosting Green Bay Wacky. And it's depending on the cola. Everybody want a cola.
Everybody wanna show time of life, on the fight, on the right. Now let's go support another creator out there. We do it every day.
Have a good night, y'all. Marfugal Production.